Welcome. Before we get into the comic review, I'd just like to put out a little disclaimer there. There's a reason why you haven't seen a video from Rob Norton for more than a week. YouTube got pissed at him and told him he couldn't post anything for a week because he did a live stream and showed a comic book that had a naked lady in it, and he got banned from YouTube for a week. How pissed off do you want to think Rob is? A lot. But we're going to come back. We're going to start off strong with the Rob Liefeld comic. We're going to talk about it because it's basically a bunch of action figures beating each other up. And I'm an action figure, and we're going to guest star in the comic, and we're going to make things as uncomfortable as we can for everybody. Look at this fine piece of art right here. That's some fine art. Rob Liefeld. I just don't get it. I'd also like to introduce you to she who is my wife. Honey?
Yes, dear.
We're going to show them what it's like to be an action figure banging up against each other, just like in this comic book that we're about to review, right?
Yes, honey, you've explained to me everything that...
That's right. I'm the man. Damn, you smell pretty.
I know.
Kiss me, woman. Damn, woman. You make me feel like a man.
Show me again why they call you Fisto. I've forgotten.
Damn, woman. No, I don't know what she's talking about. It's my weapon. That's the only thing that Fisto stands for.
No, honey. Do that thing.
What thing? Whisper it in my ear. Yeah. Oh, no way, gross. We're totally going to do that. Be prepared. Anyway, thanks for joining us on Rob's triumphant return to YouTube after 7 days of being banned. Please like and subscribe and do all that stuff. Make him feel welcome again. Buy his comics, watch his channel, and whatever else. Anyway, remember what I always say. Fist long and fist hard. Anyway, honey, let's talk about that fisting thing. Hey, thanks for joining me. So, I know a lot of you, most of you enjoy my Rob Liefeld content. In fact, in a way, and I'm not saying this is actually a good thing, it's kind of becoming what most people kind of look forward to most from me, just because they like to hear me ranting, and people tend to say like it tends to be funny, I guess. You know, maybe I'm funny, maybe I'm not. I don't know. But I'm just telling my honest opinions about these things. And these things are kind of, sometimes they're really fun to go through because it's so ridiculous. It's kind of, I'm like kind of beside myself with like, how can something be so ridiculous? Like, how can he do this? But also in another different way, it's kind of a slog because it's like, oh my God, what more can I say that I haven't already said a million times? Here's the ironic thing. The day I'm recording this, it's Monday the 22nd? Yes. I had just spent Sunday, and I recorded enough content to get me all the way through to next Sunday. I wanted to have all these videos lined up for the entire week so I could do other stuff and not have to worry about the channel. And as I was going through looking, 3 videos I had recorded, totaling an hour and a half worth of time. For some reason, the audio didn't record it at all. There was no audio in them at all. And I have to re-record all of it. One of them was Wildcats 50. One of them is another Spider-Woman comic. And the other one is this. And I have to like go through and say all this shit again. I have to relive this crap. Oh, I sat there for like half hour just so fucking pissed. I was going through the videos, trying to see if there was some setting that just has it muted. I was uploading them into different apps to see if I could edit around it, to see if it would pull audio out of it somewhere. But no, nothing. 3 videos, no audio, an hour and a half of content. So now I'm just sitting here like, I'd rather be drawing. but now I have to record it and I have to say this shit again.
Whoa. I think I just figured something out, Beavis.
What?
This sucks.
And the crazy thing about these Liefeld books is, like, I'm going through this, and this is nothing surprising, but by God, if you've read, like, let's say starting from the early 2000s, this book is like 2005, yeah. From the early 2000s to right now, if you've read one Liefeld comic, you have read them all.
This sucks more than anything that has ever sucked before.
He has one setting, one approach, one idea. It's just like a 12-year-old kid sitting at a table eating his Fruit Loops in the morning with all his action figures on the table and just smashing them together, which is a concept that, I'm pulling that from. The first time I heard that concept is pretty sure it was on Cartoonist Kayfabe. I think Jim and Ed had mentioned that specifically. Ed said something about these just feel like action figures and he's just bashing them together having fun. And by God, is that all this is? It's just like, here's a bunch of characters, we're going to do cool shit. And then here's more characters, and they're going to do cool shit. And then here's more characters, and they're going to do cool shit. And then eventually you're like, but what about what happened with the first characters? What happened with the original story point that was going on? What about that? And it's like, it's just forgotten or dismissed or removed or altered. Like, it just is, there's no thought into this except bring characters along to have them fight. Now, they're comic books. We want action, we want adventure, but for me, I can clearly go back in my mind and think about books that I've read where you were so invested in the character and the setup and payoff and the buildup was so good that you were invested in the actions and reactions of the battles and the fights that the characters ended up having, and you gave a shit about what happened. But when it's just cool character shows up and then they slash at each other and it just repeat over and over and over, you're just like, this means nothing. There's nothing there. It's soulless, it's hollow, it's self-serving, it's boring. But there are the people who just will defend this to their dying breath, that how brilliant it is, or that I overthink it, or I'm going to have a heart attack from stressing out. I am not stressing out over this. This stuff, I do this channel for fun, but it's just also so aggravating how dumb this shit is. And there's like this repeating motif going on in this book specifically that just was like, really? Okay, if you say so. And again, this is part 4. So previously, like, the books were like, hey, Cable. It started out like way in ancient times, and I think it was supposed to be Cable. He's like a barbarian warrior on a horse riding into town, and he runs into a giant lizard monster that we have to fight, and he's the most evil thing in the history of the universe, which is another element that Liefeld throws into every fucking comic. Every villainous character that we get introduced to is the biggest, most ominous and horrible threat the world has ever seen. And what's funny, beyond funny, is that every other writer that follows up on these characters, no one ever addresses the storyline that Liefeld's ever done. It's like, oh yeah, he introduced the world-ending lizard thing. Whatever, we're going to move on and pretend like it never happened. Because it might as well have not. This is all just like ego-fluffing bullshit that doesn't carry any weight and no one cares about. But the story is trying to make us feel like this is supposed to be, a big threat. Like when Magneto shows up to the X-Men and he's going to do some horrible thing and the X-Men have to go stop him. And we know Magneto and the X-Men know the character and they like him and they kind of understand him. And there's a history, but they still have to fight. There's opposing ideologies and there's drama and there's characterization that we care about. None of that exists here. But yeah. Cable, lizard thing has come back. He gets with Domino and Shatterstar, and they have to start collecting up more action figures so we can keep fighting. Book 2, they go try to find Cannonball, but at the same time, mysterious guy John Spector, mysterious dude from the future, because of course he shows up and talks about how horrible things are going to happen, and then Cable shows up with Shatterstar, Domino, Meltdown, Sunspot, Warpath. He just collected up a couple other action figures before he shows up to get Cannonball. We didn't see him collect up the others. They're just there now. And they're like, hey, we gotta fight John Spector. We gotta have an emotional battle with Cannonball. And then we get to issue 3, where the battle and the conversation with Cannonball continues, and they fight and they punch. And then, oh, by the way, there was some girl named Lady Anime. Not joking. Lady Anime, who I'm almost 100% certain never shows up again. He just introduced some girl, named her Lady Anime, and she talked about how she's going to get her revenge on fucking I don't know what. And then that action figure is kicked aside so we can get out the favorite action figure, which is Wolverine. Remember, Liefeld will tell you he's one of the best artists in the history of comics to draw Wolverine. Most artists that I know, I mean, I don't know any of these people, but based on their conversations that they'd have online, video interviews, stories you can read about them, most people are kind of humble with their kind of, when people ask them about their work. They're like, I do my best. I feel like this is some of my best work. But most artists are like, I can't even begin to reach the level of the greats. I'm just trying to be as good as the people that I grew up with. And, I do my best. And I'm really appreciative of everyone who likes my work. And thank you. Most artists are like that. Jim Lee's that way. Silvestri, Larson, all these guys. But Liefeld, he's like, I'm one of the best Wolverine artists ever. And that's a fact. I'm like, is it? Is it a fact? Tell me this fact that's your subjective opinion, please. This is not the worst Wolverine drawing I've ever seen. Whatever. It is interesting because this, to me, looks very much like an inked drawing. And my evidence to that, like I'll bring it up closer. Like these lines up there, those are too sharp and clean and pretty to be anything but an inked line. And I only bring that up because the rest of the book is shot straight from Liefeld's pencils. So page 1, Wolverine shot. I mean, I bet you this was something first. I wouldn't be surprised if this didn't even get created for this book. It's just something that he had and he threw in there. I don't know. That's pure guesswork on my end. But this is an inked drawing. And you'll be able to see, I'll bring up some images later on in the book, closer up to the camera, where you can totally tell it's pencil because it's muddy and scratchy and it's kind of like a rough pencil line. And that's fine. I usually don't like pencil artwork straight to color. I much prefer inks. And this looks better than the rest of the book. And it says Liefeld does everything except the coloring. So, again, I'm guessing he inked that, but it starts out, there's Wolverine, a new action figure, favorite action figure, or well, one of his 3 favorite. Cable's one of his favorites. Wolverine's his other favorite. Who's the third? I bet you could hardly guess when we get there. But now, let me bring this up close. Like, look at these lines kind of across Wolverine's back there and across his head. They're kind of, I don't know if the camera's going to focus on it enough that you can tell. But this is very much just pencil line. And it's clean enough, but it doesn't have that same look as a sharp inked line like is going on over here. So anyway, whatever. Wolverine's in some nondescript background with squared off cubes of cracked concrete, some glowing lights on the wall that just vanish in the next panel. He's screaming, he's grunting, he's punching somebody. And I was looking at this drawing down here. I'm like, I thought that this head and this body and this arm were connected to this arm here. So then I'm like, what is this toaster sitting on the guy's back? And it took me a second of looking at this to go, oh, this is somebody's head. This guy's wearing a toaster for a helmet. This is his left arm, and this is his body coming down across here. This is a separate dude from this guy. But at first, I thought this was just one big guy with a really misplaced shoulder. Had to stare at that for a minute to kind of figure it out. And of course, there are these little elements that is quintessential, typical Liefeld. Wolverine's got claws out on both hands, and then now he's just punching a guy. He retracted his claws, I guess he doesn't want to stab somebody in the face. Wolverine's not, I mean, Wolverine will kill, but Wolverine won't indiscriminately kill just because, like, he's not a monster. Well, I mean, he kind of is, but he has a moral center. But he's screaming at them. He's like, this is some kind of genetic mutation research base to do experiments or study up on mutants to then learn how to fight them and eradicate mutants. So Wolverine's here to kick the shit out of them. That's kind of an okay screamy face, whatever. And then Wolverine is just suddenly standing on a shelf somewhere. I was looking at this, I'm like, what in the fuck is going on? Like, again, he's bent over holding this guy, but where is this? What? There's a shelf he's just standing on? Is that a window looking outside? There's a pipe right there behind him. There's no ground under them that you can visually see. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, I kind of don't mind the picture of Wolverine bent over with his legs kind of folded up like that. It's kind of fine. Another angry, screamy face of Wolverine as the guy says, yeah, whatever, more people are coming. We're going to kick your ass, you stinking mutie. And then there's just a bunch more headshots of more bad guys showing up to kick Wolverine's ass. I'm like, how is he seeing them at this vantage point if he's way up on this shelf with no ground visible? They can't see each other. Liefeld has no concept of location and placement of characters in an environment. He just draws things, and they're vaguely kind of connected. And now action figures have to start stabbing each other. So now it looks like Wolverine is murdering the shit out of these guys. He's stabbing this dude right in the fucking balls. He's standing on a pile of corpses. So I guess his moral center just went right out the window. Knocked that guy's tooth out. So now he stands there, he grits his teeth, he pops his claws, and he's like, so something's down on sub-level 2, huh? Sure. So Wolverine, with like the greatest senses and hunting ability and more than a century, maybe a century and a half of combat experience, he can't go down a hallway and notice that around the corner is a giant white monster creature thing. He just gets surprised. He's like, oh shit, there's monster guy. It's Caliban, a character I know almost nothing about. I read about the character, I think it was in the Paul Smith run of X-Men, and he was just kind of a skinny little guy, and then somewhere along the universe, he gets blown up into a giant Hulk monster. Whatever, I don't care. It's Caliban. I'm trying to track the anatomy of his pec muscles and then how this arm's connected to him over there. It's a little weird, it's a little misplaced. It's Liefeld. What am I expecting? But yeah, Wolverine got bitch slapped because he got surprised from someone sneaking up on him. This is a motif that will happen several times in this book. So now there's a new action figure on the table. Now Wolverine and White Monster Guy have to fight. So they start diving at each other. I'll give Liefeld credit for mostly having energetic compositions and movement in his figures. That is a dynamic, powerful, stretched figure. As he dives there and Wolverine jumps there, Wolverine punches him in the face, double punches him in the face. Monster Guy punches Wolverine in the face, and then Wolverine punches him back in the face. So, I guess Wolverine knows Caliban. He's got a history, so he doesn't mind about murdering these humans and stabbing fuckers in the nuts over there. But Caliban, no. The giant monster, we're not going to hurt him. We're not going to have our claws out. I should get out some whiteout and a pen and draw his claws in and have him ripping his face off. I'm not going to deface this one. I had fun with that other one. I'm not going to do it on this one unless I get a big call for it. But anyway, punching him. Not going to stab him, but we're going to punch him. This is all kind of fine. Again, I love how Liefeld the only background he can come up with is cracked concrete wall that they're standing right up against, and it's never in perspective, like going into the distance, or it's extremely, extremely rare. It's always flat, straight on looking at it. There's no ground. I guess they're jumping through the air. Whatever. Punch Caliban. All right. There's sort of an attempt at perspective, sort of. Wolverine's jumping down. He's mounting on top of him. He's going to make sweet love to him or something. And then again, character shows up and Character has to turn and look and be surprised that new character showed up. That happened with Wolverine running into Caliban. Now Wolverine's running into Shatterstar. Shatterstar's leaping through the air, coming at Wolverine. I bet you these action figures are going to start clacking together and fighting. Hell yeah, they are. This is one of the weaker things. Like I was talking about all the energy and movement that Liefeld has with the other pages where Caliban and Wolverine were fighting. Wolverine is fucking stiff as a board. Just rigid as can be. Shatterstar, where's his right arm? He's got one arm. Where is his right arm? How do you not draw that? I mean, Shatterstar's whole shtick is he always carries two swords. And granted, he could just have one if he wants. I don't fucking care. But where is his other arm? What in the bicep fuck is going on with the muscle anatomy right there?
Son of a bitch.
That is so wrong. On every level, it looks like a weird cancerous tumor growing on his arm there.
It's not a tumor. It's not a tumor at all.
It looks so ridiculous. It's just awful. But yeah, so now these action figures are clacking against each other. Wolverine's asking, why are you here? And Shatterstar literally says, shut up and fight. Like, I'm not joking when I said a 12-year-old wrote this. This is what my kids would have them say. What are you doing here, punk? Are you a security guard? Shut up and fight. And clack, 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 clack. That's what's going on here. If I had action figures, and I do, it's literally just having them sit here and they're just beating each other up. They're like, I'm going to kick your ass and I'm going to suck your dick. And like, okay, let's go. And off they go.
Who decided that this man could make comics? This is ridiculous. This is so childish and stupid.
That's my action figure story. But anyway, they got to fight. Punch, 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 scream. Growl, grunt, scream, punch. They make fun of each other for grunting like animals. And then Wolverine's like, Shatterstar, what the fuck are you doing here? You've been off the radar forever. Oh, by the way, Shatterstar used to be an ultimate badass back in the day. Now he just gets his ass kicked everywhere. He's been doing nothing but get his ass kicked and beat around, which is what Wolverine does. And, you know, I'm more on Wolverine's side than Shatterstar, but I like Shatterstar, usually. But Shatterstar gets his ass kicked, and then for the third time, we have to turn and look, and new character just shows up, sneaks up on Wolverine for the third fucking time. Caliban did it, Shatterstar did it, Cable did it. Wolverine is supposed to be the most badass hunter warrior, a super hearing, super sense of smell. But no, everyone just shows up and sneaks up on everybody, especially Wolverine. So Cable backhands Wolverine away. That's kind of not a bad shot of Wolverine. It kind of works. And oh shit, there's Cable. Shatterstar's back up on his feet and he's acting tough now because Wolverine's on his ass. And Caliban is back here acting like a lost puppy. And there's a Boomer. I guess, whatever the relationship that has existed. Great. He's like a lost puppy, and this is so wonderful. In Cable, they have a bunch of back and forth dialogue, but Cable's like, I'm recruiting for a preemptive strike against a threat called the Scorn. Remember Lizard Thing? We haven't seen it really or had any kind of build-up for the evil of this monster since like issue 1. He might have shown up in like one page on issue 2 or 3, but like we're supposed to be scared of this threat and we never see what he does and why we're scared of him outside of they tell us that he's scary. Like this is the worst thing and we're like, oh my God, not the Scorn. Who cares? We don't care. All we have are action figures punching up against each other. So now we have to talk. And Shatterstar's like, whatever, you know, we went to talk to Cannonball, but we don't attack our friends, but except in the case of Cannonball, we did attack him, but he started it. Whatever, back and forth. You know, there's this horrible threat coming, and then again, some other characters show up, shoot Cable in the back. No one fucking heard them, saw them, knew that they were approaching. So for the 4th time in this fucking comic book, characters just show up out of nowhere and everyone has to stop and look and go, oh my God, bad guy. Who the hell is this? Aren't we supposed to be worried about the Scorn? So you got bald robot guy and generic soldier dude. I guess they're up the wall, and then there's a shelf up there. Maybe this is the shelf Wolverine was standing on. Don't know. And so bad guy's like, hey, I'm the administrator of the watchtower, and you're all trespassing. And I know that we're enemies, but we have a common enemy. You guys are going to have to work with us. Like, okay, who the fuck is this? He looks like Captain Picard when he was taken by the Borg, except hyped up for a Marvel comic. Giant metal outfit, shiny red, big pipes and things. He's got a foot-long dong shield down there. That's important. I bet there's a laser under there. In terms of action figures, this is some generic other action figure that's not cool like the Marvel characters. So, the kid went and found some generic guy. He's like, he's going to be the bad guy. He's going to be some awesome whatever the hell. He's like, blah, blah, blah. We need to work together because the Scorn is going to be bad for all of us. So we need to work together. And Tabitha says, go fuck yourself, and shoots at him. And then literally Cable and Wolverine are like, no, don't do that. You're going to make things worse. But she did it anyway. But guess what? That laser blast that she shot, we don't see the effect or consequences of that in the slightest. She just shoots a laser, whatever. Shatterstar is just standing off in this empty hallway by himself, and there's like theoretical gun barrels. Who the fuck is holding guns? Robot Captain Picard doesn't have guns. He's got a laser hand. I guess it could be Dick-Nosed stupid generic soldier here, but there's one guy. Maybe he's got a gun. Maybe he's got two guns. Does he have three? Liefeld just wants to have guns pointing at Shatterstar. He doesn't care who has them, where they're coming from. Makes no sense. So Shatterstar, remember, he's supposed to be an ultimate badass. Now he's got two swords. He jumps up there. He's like, I'm going to kick the shit out of all of you. And Robot Dong Shield bad guy just backhands Shatterstar like a little bitch, sends him flying. And so now the characters start talking again because we have to have action. This weird fucking shot of Wolverine. Evil Dong Shield Captain Picard villain guy with fingers that look like the tips of robotic dicks right here. He's like, hey, hold on. We need to work together, because we have to stop the Scorn. And Wolverine's like, you want us to help you, even though your end game is to find ways to eradicate mutants. And he's like, yeah, but this is a mutual enemy this is for the mutual good. We all have to work together. Okay. Wolverine doesn't want to do that. So big guy's like, we're going to fight. So I guess they fight. Kind of slams into Wolverine there. And then there's just a picture of a fist. And then Wolverine's just standing there going, gun. I guess that's a fighting page. I guess that's an action page. If you say so. But instead of fighting, now Wolverine and robotic Captain Picard, they start having a dance battle. They're dancing. Look at that. They're just kind of bopping back and forth. Like, somebody should feed this into a bullshit AI generator and just have them dancing in a rave club or something like that. Wolverine's feeling it. He's doing his power dance move, getting up in his face. They're going to, exchange numbers and go home with each other later that night, whatever the fuck is going on. But this is supposed to be a fight, but it looks like they're dancing. And then what is the cliche thing that happens in every one of this fucking book? A voice from behind says something. And again, all of these characters, all of these warriors with all their experience, they don't know that Deadpool just fucking shows up. Hey, there's Deadpool. So Wolverine got surprised by Caliban. Wolverine got surprised by Shatterstar. Wolverine got surprised by Cable. All of them got surprised by bad guys. And then now all of them are surprised by Deadpool. This is just bringing more action figures to this fucking table. And this dialogue, I get the point that Deadpool is supposed to be a motor mouth that won't shut up. But this is some of the dumbest dialogue. Like I said at the beginning, I have to re-record this thing. I actually read all this shit out loud. I kind of don't want to do it again. It's some of the dumbest dialogue. It's not funny and it's not clever, but it's Deadpool. I guess Shatterstar's jumping into battle because he's going to be awesome again, even though he gets his ass beat every time. So, and this guy's just holding Wolverine by the fucking face. Is that what he was doing over here? Not exactly. He has Wolverine by the throat, I guess. Now he's just holding him by his face, and Wolverine's just like a limp body. Wolverine would have his hands up, stabbing the shit out of this motherfucker. But no, we don't care about this. This is the point where Liefeld was least interested in drawing this entire double-page spread. It doesn't even look like his hands are clamped down on a hard grip on Wolverine's head. And Wolverine would be flailing around like a rabid animal stabbing at him. And then giant robot bad guy just bitch slaps Deadpool, just smacks him away. Where's Shatterstar? Who's to say? I don't know. But oh my god, Deadpool's here. Is this the greatest thing ever? So bad guy punches Deadpool in the face and then slams Deadpool and Shatterstar onto the ground, knocks their asses out. They're unconscious. Well, that was a waste of fucking time and space on the page count. They're just down and out. Boom, over. And then again, something happens from behind and everyone has to turn and look again. Bad guy's heart explodes out of his chest. I don't know. Maybe he gets blasted from behind. A voice from behind says, "Yes, Nathan, what better time and place for Strife to return? Are you fucking kidding me?" Strife has come back. Now, as far as I know, up to this point, I could be wrong, Strife has been gone and not seen since the Executioner's song? And he's here, and he's got Cannonball, he's got Forearm, he's got John Spector, and he has fucking Thumbelina. Are you kidding me? So how many different times did characters show up and then get surprised by someone else just turning up? Wolverine finds Caliban, Wolverine finds Shatterstar, Wolverine finds Cable, Cable and everyone finds bad guys, everyone finds Deadpool, and everyone finds Strife. They just all show up in this one spot. This is so stupid.
This sucks.
When you just break it down to the basics of it like that, again, I know I keep repeating it, it's like it's a kid and his toys on a table.
It really sucks.
This is some of the worst constructed shit I've ever read. And then, of course, Strife shows up. Okay, sure. I'm sure this is going to be fantastic. Puke. My God. And that's the end of the book. This is just... There is no heart and soul in this.
This sucks more than anything that has ever sucked before.
This is just toys being played with by a child.
She's faking it.
And some people love it. I'll say it again. If you love it, great. I'm glad that you love it. Tell me how I'm wrong. You know, and there are, I do get a couple of comments out there from people like, do you know how to draw? No, then you don't have a voice to have any kind of opinion. Well, one, that's not true. You don't have to be able to draw to objectively look at a thing and have an opinion on it. I don't have to be a master chef to have a meal and know that it tastes like fucking dog shit. But yes, I do draw my own comics, I do take it seriously, and I do have some kind of opinion on it that has some validation and understanding of how this shit should be constructed. And this is childish garbage, but that's just my opinion. If you don't like it, that's fine. Go away. I'm just going to keep doing this. That's all I've got for now. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one.
Maybe we should turn the TV off.
Okay, yeah, let's turn it off, okay?
This is so childish and stupid. Jesus, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done.